reviewing phones and tablets and things like that is a lot of fun, but sometimes I get to review some really novel, really interesting hardware, and today that is one of those instances. I'm sure you've seen people walking around with these neck fans, right? They go around your neck and they blow air, and it's a fan. It's a relatively useful idea for a product, but this thing that we're looking at today, the RANVOO AICE LITE, is an entirely different beast, because not only does this thing sit on your neck and blow some cool air up, it actually physically cools itself off. This whole region through here is going to chill itself dramatically to cool you off. You're going to be wearing an air conditioner around your neck as we get into the warmer months here in the northern hemisphere. Trust me, you're going to want to look at this thing. Let's scroll down here. Right now, launching at $199. I think the regular price is $229. The AICE LITE has the largest ice triangle cooling panel. We're talking about this area here. It has 360 degree of icy airflow. Stay cool even at 100 degrees Fahrenheit. 12-hour battery, heating, cooling, wind, and there's also an AI mode. Lots of really, really cool stuff going on here. This is a little bit dubious. We'll talk about that through the course of this video. First thing we need to do, though, is, of course, unbox the device. So we've got the AICE LITE wearable smart air conditioner here. I don't think there's a whole heck of a lot on this box, so we're going to go ahead and crack this thing open. On the inside, create something extraordinary for life. It looks like we've got a little diagram here showing the device, QR code to download their application. Let's get this out of the way. Some more instructions, and this is the device itself. Let's get this peeled off the side there and set to the side. Pretty interesting, this little rubberized area here in the middle, which allows this thing to open, to pivot on this hinge. Oh, look at that. That's sort of like bulging out as it's doing that as well. It's pretty interesting. So basically what happens with this thing is these areas here will get very nice and chilled, so that as you wear this around your neck, it's going to be keeping you nice and cool. USB-C port there to charge the device. And then it looks like we have our power and then a plus and minus button over here. Is the screen still in place? It is. And this thing is already kicked in. It's blowing air. You can probably hear this. It's blowing air right through these vents, which again will kind of blow up the side of your neck, on your ears and so forth, providing a nice cooling effect. And it looks like these volume looking buttons are sort of just changing this cooling level, C1, C2, and C3. We'll dig a bit more into the actual functionality later, but quickly, I do want to show you this next to the AICE 3. And it's actually not as big of a size difference as I was thinking. If anything, the AICE 3 might be a little bit smaller, and the weight is definitely pretty similar as well, but the AICE 3 I think is just a little bit more premium. The materials used, I feel a bit more premium, but it's a similar kind of thing though, right? Where this area here is going to get nice and cold. This does have a sensor back here on the back, whereas this doesn't. But I will also want to point out that this cooling area is larger on this new AICE LITE, so that's pretty cool. Pun not intended, but it's there. So what I want to do now is I want to take a look at the application that I have gotten installed. And this is going to kind of help me explain and highlight other functionality with this device. So the first thing we can do here is look at the ambient temperature. And this is set to Celsius. Let me see if I can change this from Celsius to Fahrenheit, because I'm going to be more familiar with that. So there we go. We can turn the device on from here. And here in a moment, you're probably going to hear these fans kicking on again. I can actually feel them from here. And let's turn the fan speed down. Let's turn it all the way down, actually. How far can we go? Looks like that's as low as it's going to let me go. And it's definitely ramping down. And with these buttons, I can actually change the temperature these little panels are going to attempt to get to. Now, you may look at something like, 70 and think, well, that's not particularly cool, but when that's pressed against your neck and your blood is flowing over that, basically, your body temperature is 96 plus, right? So that is a lot cooler when it's pressed up against you. And this thing is immediately cold to the touch. There's actually some really cool science to this as well. We're talking about something called thermal conductivity. It's why when you step out of the shower and you step on the cold tile on the floor versus the rug in front of the shower, even though if you took an infrared thermometer and you checked the rug and you checked the tile, they'd both be the same temperature, the tile feels colder because it has higher thermal conductivity. I'm sure you know that if you stand in place on that cold tile for just a couple of seconds, it will stop being cold. That's because that higher thermal conductivity has done its job. It has taken some heat from the bottom of your foot and transferred it into the tile. With something like the AICE LITE, yes, we have that thermally conductive material on your neck, and that's going to steal some heat away, but when that material would normally just start to get warm as well, and the cooling effect would go away, just like if you took a piece of tile or metal and placed it against your face, you'd be like, oh, this is nice and cool, but that effect would leave almost immediately. With the AICE LITE, and this semiconductor technology that they're using to literally lower the temperature of that material by something like 31 degrees Fahrenheit, that effect is going to be radically amplified, and it's also going to be continuous. And I also want to point out something that's kind of interesting, that you can go the other direction too. Let's actually push this thing up. And I guess it won't go any further than that until I switch to a heating mode. It is now a red LED. And this thing can go even hotter. So not only is this thing, looks like 122 is the hottest, not only can this thing help keep you cool, but if it's a particularly cold day, you can have the exact opposite effect. Wear this thing and it's going to get warm, and I can already feel it beginning to get warm. I think that is sort of an underappreciated use for this thing. If you've got this thing around your neck and it's nice and hot, that's going to make you feel warmer, just the same as having it be cold is going to make you feel colder. We do have these other modes as well, like wind. So if you want it to just be a fan, that's an option there. We have silent, we have hot pack, and we have cooling first, low power. So several different options here. I believe silent is going to be just the cooling effect, but no fans, so sort of the opposite of wind. Upon further investigation, the silent mode is definitely not silent. I'll let you hear this. This is not silent. It's quite loud. And then silence quieter, but definitely not silent. And then I think AI mode, I think what you're going to do is you're going to just pick a temperature and it's going to try to just take care of it for you. So to dig a little bit deeper into that AI mode, basically what they're doing is they're using their temperature sensors to see what the ambient temperature is, and then they're using that information to sort of tweak the settings of the device in real time for you to help keep you comfortable. We do have an instructions section here that tells you a short press turns the power on and off. A long press switches between those modes I showed you. A short press changes the wind speed, and then a long press on these plus and minus buttons actually adjust the temperature. So if you don't want to mess around with the application, you don't have to. I don't know about for you, but where I live, everything is expensive. Cooling your house, heating your house, everything seems like it's gone up. And if you're like me and you work from home in a room with a giant computer, screens, and lots of other electronics, you may find that that room you're in gets a little bit warmer than it should. And you can actually save some money using this thing, right? So if you're in one of these rooms like I am, and sometimes I'm in here editing and I've been using it like this, rather than turning on the air conditioner and cooling the entire house, I can just put this thing on and cool just me. We've all heard about cool the room you're in to save on your electric bill. Well, this takes that a step further. Literally just cool the person that is you. It's really easy to just sort of put this thing on, have it on the mode that's appropriate to you, and if you're using some of the different modes, it might not even be making enough noise to bother you at all. Like I'm here editing a video, and it's fine. I can have this thing sitting so quiet that I'm not really going to notice it at all. So using it indoors actually can make a lot of sense. In particular, my prior job before doing this, I worked in a warehouse. I would have killed to have had this thing during some of those really, really warm days. But of course, sometimes you're going to take this bad boy outside where it's even warmer. I have a decent sized yard to mow front and back, and it's already that time of year. It is warm, it is extremely muggy, and humid. And it's really simple for me. Rather than having one of those, like, you know, those towel things you're supposed to get wet and wrap around your neck or something, they feel good, but they very quickly become warm. Instead of grabbing something like that, then you're just kind of wet and gross. You gotta go take a shower immediately. Grabbing this thing, the ICE Lite, or in the past, my other RANVOO ICE device, putting this thing on and turning it on maximum settings, and I can go up and down my yard mowing just fine, and it makes a noticeable difference. It's not like I've stepped inside and I'm standing in front of an air conditioner blowing on me, right? Like, it's nothing quite that strong, but I would say it's right in the ballpark of putting a wet towel, a cold wet towel around your neck. But the difference is it stays there pretty much as long as you need it to. Now, I know that it says it has anti-pinching hair design, so I need to kind of address that. It's not so much that it like pulls your hair. You don't feel like a pull. What more happens is that you'll hear your hair go into the fan and it'll have this little like buzzing sound, or you can tell that the hair is being hit by a fan blade or something. I've never had it like pull or hurt or anything. So I want to make that very, very clear. Maybe that's what they mean here, but I would still advise, just for the sound and the annoyance, keep your hair pulled up out of the way. Otherwise, though, this thing is pretty darn cool, guys. My only other, like, real complaint is that if you're moving around a lot, well, I'll show you. If you're moving around a lot, it may just sort of shift around on you. Like, you're not going to wear this thing and do, you know, some ultimate frisbee or something, because it's going to just be flopping around. If you're just pushing a lawnmower, you're walking around, or my wife has actually been using it at work where she's working outside and she's not doing anything super strenuous, but it's warm out. So this thing on and you're just sort of helping customers and things like that, absolutely going to be amazing for that kind of thing. It's not super heavy, doesn't really make my neck feel tired or anything like that. It does exactly what it's supposed to do, and this time it does it at a cheaper price because they've cut some of the corners that I think honestly could have been cut. We don't have a touch screen like we had on the ICE 3, but we didn't really need the touch screen. We don't have the workout, the health tracking stuff. Again, did we really need that stuff? No. Let's just break this thing down to what it's actually good at, and that's keeping you cool for long periods of time, lower the price, and that is what we have here with the ICE Lite. So guys, I'm going to drop a couple of links into the description down below. If you click on those links and then make a purchase, I will earn commission off of that because they are affiliate links. I do want to say a big thanks to RANVOO for sending the ICE Lite over for me to review. As always, for my full reviews, no money has exchanged hands, and they were given no early copy or editorial input into this review, which means they are seeing it at the exact same time as you are. Guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.